Good evening, and welcome to Christ Church. The lesson for this evening is taken from the 4th chapter of the Epistle of James, beginning at the 6th verse. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you who are double-minded. Here endeth the lesson. We have double-mindedness amongst us as a plague more pervasive and more infectious than COVID-19. We have double-mindedness amongst us almost from the cradle and certainly to the very lip of the grave. Many of us have found our double-mindedness in this time of isolation, in this time of focused awareness on the stark realities of pandemic and mortality, of unemployment and destitution, of change which strikes some of us at the very core of everything that we thought would not change. But the truth of it is that all of that is self-deception. All of that is double-mindedness. In modern times, we use psychological terms like magical thinking. People who believe that something is going to happen by magic, like a miracle, and yet it does not happen that way. Magical thinking is an expression of double-mindedness. I see reality, I understand reality, I don't want reality, and therefore I will craft an alternate reality. Alternate realities are fun and entertaining and comforting. I myself am a big fan of science fiction and fantasy literature, which is an expression of alternate reality. But for us, as we live our lives in this time, on this planet, in this life, there is a single reality, and we all share it. And we who call ourselves Christians cannot afford to be double-minded, even though it is a greater temptation for us than for those who are secular or may follow other faiths. Because the requirement of the gospel is that we look on the world with the eyes of Christ and act in accordance with what he would do. That single-mindedness is extraordinarily difficult. It's difficult to do every now and then. It's very difficult to do on a continuing basis, and so the double-mindedness is always at the door. Double-mindedness is expressed in seeing a situation and not immediately viewing the people in it with compassion. In Bay City, we had an officer-involved shooting of a young man. This is a tragedy no matter how it happens. And disturbingly, lots of the comments on the internet were callous. They were judgmental. Some judgmental of the police, many more judgmental of the young man. Nevertheless, compassion is called for, both for the young man and for the police. I happen to have had the occasion to walk a part of the journey with a law enforcement officer who had to take a life in the line of duty. And it was, as they refer to in that culture, a righteous shoot. In other words, he did everything correctly in taking that life. By the time I knew him, he was drawing Social Security disability because the consequence of having taken that life had destroyed his ability to function not just as a law enforcement officer, but to earn a living in any capacity. Compassion is Christ's one-size-fits-all response. He has compassion for the thief on the cross, and he has compassion for you. He even has compassion for the money changers in the temple. That's a different sermon. Put away double-mindedness. Rebuke the devil and he will flee from you. Instead, act, speak, post on the internet only ever with compassion. May the Lord Almighty grant us a peaceful night and a perfect end. Amen. Good night.